please.
110 million plus workers have been laid off in the last 1 month, according to data released by the Center for the Monitoring of Indian Economy. Uday Shankar asks that you can pass a diktat which says don't fire, but unless companies can support themselves, unless companies can find a way of surviving, they can support employees only for a month or two. After that, mass scale retrenchment is the only way forward. How do you look at this issue of unemployment, companies feeling the stress, and the kind of unemployment numbers that we're seeing?
Rahul, firstly, I think it's very important that we keep these aspects in perspective. Let me just point out that in the United States, for instance, the number of people filing for unemployment insurance has reached a historical high, greater than even the numbers during the Great Depression. Now, given the scale of the pandemic that each country is experiencing, India is not, an outlier in this. This is something that will happen. That said, the government is, working on the supply side measures. As I was mentioning, one of the key aspects is the liquidity support that firms need in order to be able to tide over, their expenses, which include their, the salaries and wages that they have to pay. Just to give you some ballpark estimation, typical firm, rolls over its inventory about 4 to 5 times a year. So a 20 to 25% increase in their working capital can enable them to actually take care of their operational expenses for about a quarter at least. Now, these are some of the sort of considerations that are going in, to make sure that the supply side support is provided, in this context. But keeping in mind that this is not something that is happening only in India, and that is a very important, perspective that we all need to keep in mind.
So, do you intend to provide wage and income support, like has been done in several countries, including in the United States, or do you think that's difficult to do in India?
There are many ways in which, these kind of support can be done. As I said, we are looking at liquidity support, which is a very important aspect, especially for the smaller, and medium enterprises, because they rely a lot on trade credit, and therefore for them, their cash expenses, them being able to take care of that is important. There are many ways of doing it. We don't necessarily have to just copy paste what other countries are doing.
Okay, so you're talking about small and medium enterprises. Now that's got a lot of big business worried. I want to show you what Harshpati Singhani of the JK Group had to say about the need to also support big business while we look at saving small business. Here is Harshpati Singhani.
The narrative is clearly that the MSMEs, the trade, individual people require a lot of support. But large business, as Uday was saying, also requires support, because large business also means large costs. So let's take it very simply. You have very little or zero revenue. You can do away with variable costs, but you have large fixed costs. You also have your meter ticking. Apart from employees, you also have to pay the banks. You also have to service your loans. So there has to be some support to the large industry as well.
Dr. Subramanian, this has got everyone worried because it's a cycle. If big industry can sustain itself, they generate the orders which largely go to micro and small and medium enterprises, and that's how the economic chain functions. Now, when there's so much focus on small and medium enterprises, the big boys are worried. If that's where you focus your energies, then what happens to us? If we shut shop, then ultimately they too will shut shop. How do you respond to Mr. Singhani?
Firstly, let me clarify, the Reserve Bank of India has taken several steps to provide liquidity. There's also forbearance that's been provided. So the last part of that statement, where they actually have to continue servicing their loans, etc., those have been, accommodated. So through the various measures that have been taken by the Reserve Bank to provide liquidity, which applies actually equally well for small and large firms, their concerns are also being taken into account.
How? Can you expand that a little bit? Because from what we've read so far from our reporters, the focus of stimulus package number 2.0 seems to be largely directed towards the micro, small and medium enterprises, which is what various government voices have told us as well. If that's the case, how do you take care of big business?
Look, Rahul, support, when you're talking about situation like this, is not just the fiscal support. It's about fiscal, it's about liquidity and monetary support, at the same time also on the banking side. And as I clearly mentioned, the Reserve Bank has already come up with several measures on the monetary and on the banking side to provide the necessary accommodation to large businesses and thereby enable them to actually tide over their difficulties.